I have some big updates on Donald Trump's different court cases. DA Fani Willis will likely be dropped in the Georgia case, and Letitia James of New York kicks over two new hornets' nests, making New Yorkers furious. Joe Biden is now calling illegal immigrants newcomers. 12 Democrat leaders took a secret trip to Cuba to help the people of Cuba, but forgot they were actually elected to help the people of the United States of America. I just want to say thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out. We've just crossed 1.5 million amazing truth seekers. So thank you guys so much for being in my YouTube community. I also want to thank today's video sponsor, Mr. 1920 Soap. This is the very best soap in the world. Look at these big, beautiful, chunky bars of soap. They smell so good. This is my very favorite soap. Now, if you guys use code AMAZING at checkout, you'll actually get 15% off, and I'm going to leave a link to that down below. But let's jump into the news. Presidential candidate Nikki Haley has finally responded to the Supreme Court for choosing to decide if presidents have immunity from being prosecuted for actions taken while in office. During an interview with CNN, Nikki Haley stated, "I think the Supreme Court should hear it because we do want to look at immunity. No president should ever be above the law. And, we've never really had to clarify this before. And I think it's important for the Supreme Court to clarify it now." Isn't it interesting that people that are trying to get Donald Trump out of office want this to be investigated? But if they were the president, they would want to have immunity for their own actions. That's called hypocrisy. All right, now, Nikki Haley's viewpoint opens up a broader debate. Should U.S. presidents be treated like any other citizen when it comes to legal matters? The straightforward answer is it's complicated. Given the heavy responsibility that presidents have, like ensuring national security, maintaining economic stability, managing international relations and foreign entanglements, the argument could be granted that they need to be able to focus and not have to wonder if they're going to be sued at every single corner. But again, it's very, very complicated. However, this doesn't mean that a president should be able to not be held responsible when they do something wrong. But this is why we have an impeachment process. For instance, if a president were to commit serious crimes that harmed people, it's only fair that they should be removed from office. The distinction becomes particularly significant in complex situations, such as the allegations levied against President Donald Trump for his alleged involvement in the January 6th event. While the violence on that day was tragic, the question of direct intent or involvement from Trump continues to be a contentious issue. In my opinion, any legal action against a president requires a high standard of proof, ensuring that accusations are thoroughly substantiated before proceeding. Now, interestingly enough, there is not a high standard of proof linking Donald Trump to any plan, scheme, or any of the violence on January 6th. As the election nears, Joe Biden has continued his attempt to buy voters' votes. Although he was stopped from forgiving student loan debt, he forgave a bunch of people student loan debt. Now he's saying he's going to pay college students for registering other people to vote. In 2020, 65% of people aged 18 to 24 admitted that they voted for Joe Biden, which shows why Joe Biden and his campaign would want to pay college-age students to help with the election. However, Republican Ross Berry reacted to the news by stating, "Curious how they chose college students and not veterans who have served in the war." But of course, this is always about buying your vote. Vice President Kamala Harris argued that the new program is meant to engage young leaders in the process and activate them in terms of their ability to strengthen our communities. Again, why isn't this type of program for all types of people? Why is it specifically for the voter demographic that voted most for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? I think you guys all know the answer. Do you think that this is election interference or buying votes? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right. Joe Biden's 2024 strategy has been fairly laughable. I mean, at least he's out of the basement this time. Not only has he tried to blame Donald Trump for his horrible border policy, but he's also grasping at straws when it comes to abortion. Donald Trump has made it abundantly clear that he is not looking to outright ban fertilization treatment or abortion. But the Biden campaign has continued to act as if he will because 25% of all Democrats only vote on one issue, abortion. During a recent interview with Fox News, Donald Trump simply stated that he was considering a national abortion ban of 15 weeks, but ultimately said he hasn't made a final decision. In response, Biden's campaign blasted Donald Trump as being anti-women's rights. Now, I know abortion is a controversial topic. You're all welcome to have your own opinion on this topic, but I think we can all agree that there should be some level of restriction, and you'll have to decide what you think that is. But let me know in the comments: is Donald Trump's thinking that IVS should not be considered abortion too radical? Is his idea of 15 weeks too lenient? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, I find this really interesting, and let me know if you think the same. 12 of the most progressive Democrats in Congress just took an undisclosed trip to Cuba. The 12 say that they are there to learn more about the Cuban government and the people and how they can liberate the people of Cuba. They are worried about how communism is hurting Cuba and making life difficult and more expensive. Now, to my knowledge, none of these 12 are concerned about their own districts or the high inflation or the high crime in their own districts. They literally left their districts that are in need and flew to Cuba in order to help and liberate the people of Cuba. I mean, this is insane, right? My guess is that this is actually just a bullcrap cover-up explanation, and they are just using taxpayer money in order to take a beach vacation to the beautiful beaches of Cuba. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I hope the people in their districts see that they literally abandoned their district to go try to help other people have a better life. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at this through jaded eyes. Now, I can tell you this: they do not care about you. They do not care about your family. They do not care about inflation or how expensive life has become under Biden. This much we know is true. Okay, now, Attorney General Letitia James of New York can now sit back and collect $114,000 a day in interest for the state of New York from Donald Trump as he tries to get a loan so that he can appeal and win his court case. In the meantime, she's taken on two very difficult cases, which I believe will have ramifications for her reelection down the road. Letitia James has decided to sue the largest meat packer in America, JBS USA. She says that their business of selling meat is dangerous to climate change. She said people are struggling enough. They don't need to worry about whether the meat they eat is going to kill them from climate change. So she's not worried about meat prices being affordable for people in New York or the United States, or people's ability to feed their families and their children. No, 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 no. She's worried about climate change and cow farts. Farting cows is her next biggest thing that she wants to tackle. Now, the main person pushing Letitia James to sue the meatpacking industry is climate change czar John Kerry and Joe Biden and the World Economic Forum. I'm sure there's nothing crazy going on when John Kerry and the World Economic Forum get involved. Now, the other area that AG Letitia James of New York is suing is Long Island, New York. After doing extensive research, talking with doctors, and taking into account children's mental health and undeveloped brains, Long Island decided that as a county, they would ban transgender participation in girls' sports. Letitia James is now suing Long Island to allow all biological boys that feel they are girls to participate in girls' sports. Letitia James says this is discrimination and must be stopped immediately. However, the county and parents in the county say being female is a protected class in the United States, and allowing boys that think they are girls to take sports spots and win trophies and break records that girls have won is totally wrong. Now, this is a developing story, but it's not just relegated to New York. This is a story that's happening all across the United States, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Donald Trump just got a huge win in his confidential documents trial in Florida. Special counsel Jack Smith asked Judge Eileen Cannon for Donald Trump's trial to start on May 20th. Judge Canon said Donald Trump will be involved in a different trial with Alvin Braggs in New York, and he's not able to sit in multiple trials at the same time. Jack Smith then asked for the trial to start in July, to which Judge Canon reprimanded Jack Smith and said he had unrealistic expectations of how much time is required to plan for a trial such as this. She literally said that he was crazy and had unrealistic expectations. I mean, you guys, I know many of you in the community like Donald Trump, and he's done a lot for the country, but can this guy be in two courtrooms at the same time? No. I mean, they're literally trying to get him jailed before he can become president of the United States. But Judge Eileen Cannon of Florida is seeing through their scheme. Okay, now to Georgia. In the Fani Willis court drama today, Judge Scott McAfee said he has all the evidence and information needed to make a decision in 2 weeks. Fani Willis's team said, "You can't have 2 weeks, Judge. We need to know right now, is she with us or is she out?" He said, "Last I checked, I'm the judge, and I said I need 2 weeks, so I'm going to take 2 weeks." And that's exactly what's going to happen. All right, now listen to this. This is crazy. A new COVID study shows that 90% of people dealing with long COVID are vaccinated, and 3% dealing with long COVID were not vaccinated. The CDC has also finally put on their website that vaccinated people saw a big percentage increase in heart and blood-related issues, with blood viscosity increasing after being vaccinated. Basically, in layman terms, vaccinated people now have thicker blood because of the vaccines. Now, of course, nothing's going to happen to the vaccine makers because they have immunity, unlike a president of the United States. Anyway, let me know in the comments, do you guys have long COVID? Did you get the vaccine? Do you feel any different? Now, YouTube, this is coming from the CDC's website, not from Stephen Gardner. Okay, Apollo Management, a large hedge fund management group, is now predicting the Federal Reserve Bank, under the direction of Jerome Powell, will not lower interest rates at all in 2024 because inflation and wholesale costs continue to increase or remain high. The markets reacted and sent the price of gold up $50 an ounce over the last few days. Bitcoin also rose even faster as people worry that the strength of the US dollar is falling apart and that inflation will continue to be sticky. Bitcoin is trading at over $62,000 a coin as of the filming of this video. All right, now a few days ago, you may have seen this. A judge in Illinois ruled that Donald Trump was to be removed from the ballot. However, now the judge, she's saying that he'll remain on the ballot until an appeals court can review her ruling and decide whether to kick him off or not. So at this point, you guys, this is into the Supreme Court. These Democrats are just playing games. Literally, they're trying to bankrupt Donald Trump with legal fees. I've never seen anything like this in my whole life. They're literally using lawfare in order to decide who you get to vote for. But let me know, are you going to be voting for Donald Trump or for Joe Biden or someone else? Maybe let me know in the comments. Write Trump, Biden, someone else. Or if you know who that someone else is, just let me know. But I definitely want to hear from you, okay? All right, now the White House. This is crazy, you guys. I've been covering this illegal immigrant situation for many months with the Texas border crisis, the migrant crime crisis in Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle, New York City. But now President Biden and several other White House staffers are calling illegal immigrants newcomers. So they're not calling them migrants. They're not calling them illegal immigrants. They're calling them newcomers. So the newcomers get $1,000 a month. They get a cell phone, free housing, lawyers. Man, wish I was a newcomer. I guess I'm just one of those old comers, right? Jeez, man, what a joke. All right, Trump. Nikki Haley, Tulsi Gabbard for vice president. They're illegals. That's what they are. Yeah, well, not according to President Biden. Our fearless leader, President Joe Biden, who could barely walk in Texas yesterday without holding on to the Border Patrol agent in front of him. But I'm sure he was just friendly, right? Just giving him a little neck massage before he sniffed his hair and stuff. All right. As I told you a few days ago, Mitch McConnell has announced that he will step down from Republican leadership. Already, John Cornyn, John Thune, and John Barrasso have thrown their hats in the ring to be the next leader. I don't know. It's like the triple John. However, Donald Trump is asking for Republican leadership to choose and sustain Senator Steve Daines from Montana. Now, I know who Steve Daines is. I could pick him out in a lineup, but truthfully, I don't know that much about him. But for some reason, Donald Trump believes that he would be a good leader. And so anyway, there you go. Man, lots going on with all the different lawsuits against Donald Trump. Lots going on with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris now traveling the country, trying to convince people to keep them in office, trying to convince them that they're young and hip and cool and full of energy. But we can all see it, right? We see what's actually going on. All right, let me say hi to some people here. Dennis, Brian, Steve-O, Kimberly, Elizabeth, Leslie, Honey Bear, James, Laser Flexer, Patriot 1776. Oh man, thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me tell you really quickly about Mr. 1920 soap, and I'm going to leave a link down below. Use code AMAZING to get 15% off. This is my favorite soap in the world. It smells so good. Look at these big, beautiful, chunky bars of soap. They last forever. They smell so good. Here's a couple of my favorites. Bourbon Barrel. There's Morning Oats. There's Love Potion, I think it's called. This is one of my favorite, black soap. It smells like the most clean thing you've ever smelt in your whole life. I don't know how to describe it. It's really, really good. Anyway, I'll leave a link down below. Again, use code AMAZING for 15% off because you guys are amazing. All right, now this is my update for today. As I know more, I will definitely come on and share more with you. Before you go, I want to remind you that you are amazing. Thank you guys so much. Give this video a like, because then YouTube will send it out to other people. And if you would share it on Facebook and Twitter, I would be very, very grateful. Thanks, Gear Fusion, for the super chat. I love you guys. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on the next video.